to where it butts against and bent round the corridor. There is all the time small strange opens door than the ordinary door. Here to drive open with a jerk it to the outside. To the Koizumi-kun, were the gestures that let enter your first. Now, this is the room. This is in my laboratory. We're at a great machine. Come on, please. Leave is said. Koizumi-kun, and with paying attention, I have come to stand ahead to the room. If you look, it would be strange room called what? 2 meters 4 more is a very narrow without chair table in the place. Oddly enough, the 4 law of the wall nor ceiling floor also. It is completely taut in the iron plate, in the corner of one of the walls of the iron beams. Though it is a small depression, bare, such as the automotive room lamp. Bean's light bulb is shining. Where are there the machine? Is not that is in this room, do not put anything. When Koizumi-kun is asked by turning look at the per suspicious likely. Is here to drive was still out of the room opens door the tighten half, while sticking out new, and face from between them. Suddenly, issued like a different voice until now. You do not see the machine. Room itself you are now saying is what is one of the great machine. A vehicle large invented. Ha ha ha, in the rough words. Turned around and I thought gosh masked. To the face of Doctor. It was pale creepy form has changed shooting. Uncle, why I'm in such a place? Why into the room? I do not you go into. Koizumi, you are feeling very uneasy. Asked to twit. Why enter either not I? Foo foo foo. Eagle life is because dear. But it is a machine that was invented on their own, and that afraid of entering into it. Foo foo foo. Your children with courage. One Pearl River me try the eagle of the invention the machine of taste. As you sit there. Starts funny now. Well waiting looking forward to. But good. Foo foo foo. Quote. Edge. I what is. Well. You is who are you going to confine me to here? You is who on earth? Koizumi-kun. It went suddenly jumped to the door. Pushed away the strange gentleman but was a cornerstone. As early as that time. The door is crimped from perfect and outside. The sound of applying the key as we have heard the ticking. Terrible room. Koizumi-kun. What did I do not know somehow not to have done I have been kind enough to take a girl of Maiko. Suddenly such nanny strange results in confinement to the room. Do you have unlike in mind here of my husband? But, when my husband saw, is quite a fine gentleman. Hayashi the beard of the triangle, over a large tortoise-shell speckled glasses. Is the wind again, such as the great scholar. It's fine uncle, a Koizumi-kun, which is also the girl's benefactor. Nanti match in such a fit. Will such mean did you do on earth? After a while, the eye somewhere wall of the other side. But GGG, pale creepy noises, such as began around even in the motor has been heard. Koizumi-kun, such as have been put even in the operating table of the surgical hospital. To say downright unexpected fear, and in the mouth got dry to Caracalla, was enough to not say things. It must have been surely changed the complexion also deep blue. In the meantime, a mix to the motor seems sound. The gear and the gear meshing, such as, occurs noisy sound, probably because of the gas. Iron beams of the room. It appears to have begun to vibration little by little. Koizumi-kun of the heart, so as to get the fast from. I have been pounding. Oh, I wonder what happens. When I think what terrible thing that probably happens to now. We cannot help sit still anymore. Even if we know it is that there is no escape route. And whether those that do not stay somehow, like a beast that has been cornered. I looked around the neighborhood and look around. Then, when you suddenly and looked up at the ceiling. Oh, would be that what? Ceiling of the black iron beams is, little by little, like in the slag of such creeping insects. Or does not come down to the bottom to bottom. Koizumi-kun, events such as this devil, could not bring myself to believe in the old. My eyes. I doubt that it would be that somehow. But, if we give staring, the ceiling will come certainly cage and scorching. but it's the slow speed of about 1 millimeter of Japan for 1 second. Surely, we come down on him a little bit of rest even without the overhead of Koizumi-kun. Please open, uncle. Here. Please open early. Koizumi-kun and Shinji Monogarui. It went on striking the iron beams of the door. Ha ha ha. It seems to have finally found. I did look at the ceiling. The ceiling. I'm not the ceiling of the norm. Thickness is also 1 meter. I'm heavy ceiling. Its ceiling is dawned on. I'm falling to the top of you. Then, is it? I guess I think that would mean by that. For example, Koizumi-kun. I guess you did understand it? From between the sound of the gear. Have a hoarse voices heard you bad directly below. As Koizumi, you are horrified. I looked up at the ceiling of the so heavy iron beams. Voila! Ceiling unawares. 5 than the original height. Or does not have become 6 centimeters lower. And, still to bottom. Or does not come down without any of the rest. Because I know uncle. I understand the other. Uncle of the invention. Please stop the fast machine. And please start me out. Koizumi-kun, and you cried, summon up the voice of the hard. Immediately outside, hoarse from voice replied, ha ha ha, you can paddle, are you with the intention of leaving the there? Ha ha ha. However, the eagles never not open this door. Edge is why you met me such a terrible experience. Uncle is anyone on earth. Oof. I think the who. See addressed one. You were members of the detective boys. Squeeze the wisdom of the detective. See thinking one. Eagle does who. Why horrible machine room you did confinement into. Quote. For example, uncle, I know that it's a boy detective team members do. Even as you know. What if you know? Using the decoy a little girl. He was lured to hear. But poor thugs detectives. Hey, we're fairly full eat. Ha ha ha. Edged it SU-20 countenance. Ha ha ha. I guess was finally found. A bad detective's the head. Eagle, it is also referred to as 20 countenance. To also called Hiruda Drive. To also called Tanamura Detective. Still we have a variety of names in the other. In the eagle is. Why was confined to you here? I would have understood. That revenge is. Eagle. For you guys thugs detective someday. Was engaged in a terrible fit. I mean that you tried the reward. Well, we're slowly Pearl River me the sights of the eagle of the machine. Ha ha ha. Remains wiseued. Poisonous laughter was horses. Went away gradually towards the other side. 20 countenance remains drove the machine. I had left the place. Koizumi-kun is another Shinji Monogarui. While screaming something in the whole body. Doshin, I tried to hit the door. However, iron beams of the door does not budge. In the meantime, something hard to feel like pressed against your head with things. If you look at the top and highway, what about ceiling and the other? It has been down about not standing straight. Koizumi-kun, knowing the waist, with both hands, the ceiling of the cold iron beams, tried with all his strength pushed up. However, I think it does not and can stop the machine by human power. Hands that with all his strength pushed up. We come down to Jirori and under. After a while, Koizumi-kun was must that you did not squat in there. Even if the squat, its head, heavy ceiling, I come against Gungin. If you try to think of it, though high ceilings come down to there. It does not have taken only enough to. If you continue falling at this rate, do not take more than 5 minutes later. Koizumi-kun will become crushed. When I think of it, there is no longer living sky. Kudasai, Okathern, help truly of Koizumi-kun also. Contrary to young children, feverishly, could not help not build such a cry. Then, the cry to answer to the voice from somewhere. I have heard the hoarse voice of example. Ufufufu. Koizumi-kun. That's how. I wonder if that feeling is. Enough is enough. No, I do not worry. Eagle, I do not believe try to take you of life. However, the eagle on again so as not to cause such as a hand mukai is the until I punish you. You see, I guess a little answered to himself. Quote, scary as after had seen a dream. Koizumi-kun became drenched in fat sweat, and you turned around the better to the voice. One place of the iron plate of the wall, about 2 centimeters 4 more, open to the window tay. I faced 20 countenance was garbled from there to here to drive is the exception. I did not notice any, but there was a hidden door in the hole except in such a place. I wonder if was, ha ha ha, scared, do not have the deep blue face, but good for peace of mind. The other machine had stopped. This eagle punishment's over. I'll now out of there. But, as before, there are things you'd like a little write to you. Because here there is a pen and paper. As they say the eagle, I would like to have written into it. I guess good. Speaking if with you as I do not want. Also the machine starts to move. If it can carry. Now, receive the pen. I write, Nani. Not anything. I'm friendly complain. 20 countenances. Such a cat-stroking voice while saying that. From the viewing window, it did hold out a piece of letterhead and fountain pen. Kai old man, talk on behalf of, and then after about 30 minutes, in the woods near the shrine about your Koizumi-kun. Fat depori of about 40-year-old gentleman. Taki Nagashi of kimono. Hats also not fogged, shaking the stick. I was walking. The gentleman Koizumi of your father Nobuo Koizumi was Shintaro. Mr. Shintaro said, has served as the director of several companies. But's a wealthy businessman. Every day, back from the company, and dispensed dinner, is to walk in the woods in the neighborhood of the shrine. As usual it was supposed to, because today was delayed a little dinner, extends the time of the walk. The shrine of the precincts had become almost dark. Still, because the thing that has become a habit, and not to walk, because somehow the bad feelings. Mr. Shintaro is the inside of the dark forest. It'd have walked and hanging out. If you say why was delayed so much dinner, it is because Nobuo-kun alone son did not return from the much weight even school. But, when the wonder is surely also the practice of baseball, without spending even worry too much. It did everyone had finished dinner with Koizumi-kun you out Shibuya-ku, because we are in Sakuragaoka-cho. And 20 countenance of the hideout of Setagaya Kejiri the town, is the closeness, not take enough by train, between its immediate eyes and nose. Cute Nobuo-kun, without knowing that there is the Anna terrible because Shintaro's your father is. I was make yourself walk to carefree likely. Hello, Koizumi if there is not well then sir. Suddenly because there are those calling from within the darkness. The Shintaro Mr. I turned around and was surprised to see if the big tree shadow, wearing a tattered clothes, such as a beggar, white hair, old man Hakuzen is. Are you standing while laughing grin? The eagle's Koizumi, KKEU was who? Shintaro said, while saying so. Elaborated the pupil. We look at the opponent, no matter how much thought. I do not acquaint it in such a dirty old man. Not only say dirty, and bleeding somehow hermit white beard that's stretched to bushy. It even seems a Suki look bad. Ehehehe, with even your most to not make a scene remember. But there is matter of fact for the first time of a person. It is we might want a little I say talk to the husband. Hehehe, would you bad guy say what? In the forest of darkness, suddenly emerged from the shadow of a tree, with a laugh in the voice, such as the strange bird. I would like it there to talk. It will got things. No, it does not somehow change the way crisis of mouth in the got things. Because the story is, it's what, if the intricate story. But I want you to come toward me again house. Shintaro said to be wary of the other party, not know the identity. I replied to surly. Hehehe, Nani, we do not have even in such intricate story. Actually, regard to that of your bochama of your house. Edged at that of Nobuo? Nobuo is did you somehow. Mr. Koizumi, a priest Harriet caliber of the old man, was involuntarily reflective listening and scaring. Looky he. So it all do but my will help but hear the eagle of the story. Mr. Nobuo is. Did you return from school? A. Now do at your house smell. No. Sighs and washi until leaving the house. Had not yet returned. I have been worried that if I do you know that something Nobuo, let alone know, the eagle is up with the just, I was talking with that child. Edge talking? A. Do you where Nobuo is now? Ehehehe. It will not be a moment I would like. Eagle is well aware also that location. In your mind as soon as the husband. I will so go back at any time your house. I mean eagle of mind soon? It, or say even with you was hidden somewhere the Nobuo. Mr. Koizumi was reflective listening in severe tone. He is made to your angry so. You cannot even talk. Well, I guess you will read this one. Once this to see. I know everything by Kai old man to say such a thing while from the pocket taken out something too of the piece of paper that I wrote. I was held out to Mr. Koizumi. We come with over there in a night light. Go to that below, please try to read one. Mr. Koizumi is not Toriyawa in such a suspicious guy, but I thought that if led away standing as it is, if you look at the things written priest of hair, did not need a not try to read after all the time being. To go to the bottom of the nightlight. If you look by holding a piece of paper, the first one that, at a certain beloved child Nobuo-kun of the handwriting of seeing remember. Such is the following terrible. A letter was yes to Shidatame. Father, I have had a terrible eye out for the bad guys. And Kurushiku is about to dying. Please help early. Purchase decisions and as you say of this old man, I is to survive, please. Please save early me from this suffering. Nobuo Koizumi. When Mr. Koizumi will read it, it has turned pale as Hatton. From somewhere, cry to seek salvation in the heart of Nobuo-kun. It even feels like heard faintly. Hurry up, I tried to read something like another piece of the letter. Positive 12 o'clock tonight. You are the original with you of heirloom. A hanging scroll of landscape view of Seshu. I come into the forest of Komazawa parade ground. East side. There's a single of the small car is waiting. You're passing hand the scroll to the person in the car. That way Nobuo you are immediately returned to your hand. I come in just to you alone. Zetani unexpected shall be accompanied by the other person. If there is something like appeal this to the police. Nobuo it is case resolution shall not go back forever. Shintaro Koizumi 20 countenance. When you look at this, 20 countenance is allowed to add a scary thought to Nobuo-kun. Not enough only thorn revenge against detective boys. Further utilizing the Nobuo-kun art collection of his illness I'm trying to fulfill the purpose of the what that would scheming good insects. Because landscape view of Seshu is a family heirloom that is transmitted to the ancestral Koizumi house, was the venerable subcommittee masterpiece that has been designated a national treasure. If to sell this, it is the treasure of the more are said to my less than 2 million yen. 20 countenances. If you have not changed arguments in the paintings, you that does not return as Zetani Nobuo you. Ehehehe. How now you can see. In, but is immediately, in what you want available upon the reply 1. Kai old man, the face of Koizumi, who is going to read the letter, while watching and staring, poison people in Shichoshi. It was a reminder of the reply. Mr. Koizumi, how may be the answer? Not come up with even thought suddenly. Nobuo you it is needless to say that the unexpected must be returned Take-kun. But to say or so, the treasure that has been designated to a national treasure. I do not want to blindly eggplant if hand in, if the eagle is not aware of this offer. Mr. Koizumi, and glared at the old man. I was asked to tell off. It either does not have well then properly as written in the letter. Our metabach chama, just means that it does not go back to your house forever. If you guess from this caliber, the old man not just say that was asked a letter, must have one of the men 20 countenance. Opponent is 1, and it's the old man of the week from old age. Catch this guy here, protrudes to the police. Or will things not afford to not to confess the hideout 20 countenance? If so, then you lack also salvation Nobuo-kun. You need without having to pass the treasure. Yeah, it is good. No way these decrepit. My is also possible to take a delay. Mr. Koizumi, when you decided to Tosa, suddenly grasping a cane, was more close to the front of the determinedly and the elderly. Oh, sir, by changing the color of eyes. If I was Nasu, paddle I called trying to somehow the eagle. The old man, as was surprised, was staring at Mr. Koizumi. Difference. 20 would know the hideout of countenance. Place where the Nobuo also should know the difference. Come on, all out regard to come together an eagle. Police, shouting as Mr. Koizumi tried to Sukamakakaro to the old man in terrible momentum. Then, oh, this will be what was. Opponent is be fast, such as Asuka, pulled the whip only. Old man who was weak from old age bent over until now. Not became Sukan Nyodachi like in a terrible janky the darkness. Such as a youth, then, from the trouser pocket, and I think was taken out of something. It is grasped in his right hand. He was confronted in the previous new, and Mr. Koizumi knows. Pistol. Hey, it's not something to be a fool. If such a thing, not only Nobuo-kun, you own up to or not you become that which is not irreversible. Ha ha ha, as I will be caught in something you. I'm going to not is senile. Good crispness to voice. It was changed to youthful Choshi. There is no difference in a young tough man. It is in order to guard the opponent. Deliberately, Will had been disguised as an old man of the weak from old age. Mr. Koizumi is scaring. Leave it paralyzed. You cannot be stuck. Is confronted the pistol. We do not leave even the other hand also feet. Ha ha ha. If you try to opposite hand 20 countenance. That is Z. I found the paddle going to be in these things. The Inaru instruction written on the piece of paper. To be observed faithfully. I will pardon or not. Nobuo would disappear from this world forever. Well with the thought. Either with decide, but also good, Nobuo or throw away. Or as possible I think the heirloom. I but keep in passing say. 20 countenance which but, to any appearance, I do not know where they are hidden. If the you is strange imitate, I would know immediately. Beware but good. Ha ha ha. Well then to tonight's 12 o'clock. Z are surely waiting. Quote, while the old man was holding a pistol, and a scorching, the Atodasari, eventually, into the darkness of the shadow of the trees. It has disappeared. Even disappear figure, from among the distant darkness, is that eerie laughter, while becoming more and more faint. It did have also followed forever. Mr. Koizumi for a while, what the ability to think without any, but was done stood, eventually, when the frog in Hatton and cracking herself to a Maamashi likely. Oh, so, the eagle I had a talk with 20 countenance ever now. Now the old man what? Must have been disguised appearance 20 countenance. Named Detective Kiki. Then too, after 30 minutes, Mr. Shintaro Koizumi, over the waist in front of the large desk in the study of Jitai, was hold the handset of the desk phone. Hello, is Akechi Detective Office. I am Koizumi of Shibuya. What Akechi-san is your home? The Koizumi and Mr. Akechi Detective. The same social, because the thing was a member of the club. Even if not enough to say that friendship, too, was also a relationship that you had talked 3 times. From such relationship, also heard that Nobuo-kun has joined the boy detective team. Apart from not worry, trust the Akechi detective, is why it was acquiescence, is going to happen is such a terrible incident. I did not dream of thinking. This incident does not want to appeal to the police. If such a thing, because the thing of Anasubashi, carp 20 countenance, and quickly Kanzui, might or what terrible revenge. So, Mr. Koizumi came up to talk to Akechi detective. If Akechi detective is also the acquaintance, especially because I have a deep relationship with detective boys. Taken seriously, we were thinking that there is no difference to me painfully. Before long, it is the manner in which Akechi came to the phone outlet. Oh, Akechi's that? Is Koizumi. Phone but is woefully rude. It happened an incident you want to borrow a matter of fact as soon as possible our forces. The contents of the case. Since what is in the phone, I would like more information Omanakaka, but anyway, in addition to cling to your power is not serious incident. For example, give us a place. Thank you. What do? My house in. Since you should Kobayashi Mr. Your place knoweth well. So, we wait. Quote. Over the slam in the receiver. Mr. Koizumi sighed relieved. Akechi detective, though was in the office is just good condition. It was above all the fortunately. If Akechi deceived the bandits to Takumi, Nobuo also returned to take. Such as need not past also hanging scroll of heirloom. It may be willing out thinking a great means. When Mr. Koizumi will think so, some worry calm, even in the face that has been completely pale, seemed to come back to me somehow animation. However, during which Mr. Koizumi had become fog in the phone. It had happened to be strange to one of its study, although it was just the middle of talking to Akechi. From outside of Yokode of the glass window of Mr. Koizumi, known as the face of dubious old man was bearded white-bearded to the head. It was not staring peering the room, although we are out of the window has become a large garden. Unnoticed, white crept, strange old man of the best. In other words 20 countenances. From the garden, a figure that is multiplied by the Koizumi's phone, like such as snake aiming their prey. In the tenacity subcommittee eyes with, I was staring, in the shrine of the forest, pretending his left standing. There is no difference to a matter of fact have been wearing after Mr. Koizumi. And Mr. Koizumi is when you see the place a handset. It retracted the hyoid neck. I have disappeared into the garden of darkness. Of course Mr. Koizumi, it did not notice any 20 countenance Kai old man is. Then, duck between the garden of the groves. Arrived on the back of the fence like in the lightness of such as monkeys. We overcame the fence. Outside of the fence is also not lonely backstreet pedestrian traffic. 20 countenances innocently, as to the town, was rushed to the better of the bustling shopping district. Then, when you dive into the bottom of the for-how public phone, grab the suddenly handset, we turn the number of Akechi Detective Agency. Oh, this is well of what was. 20 countenances Nanti make a phone call to Akechi Detective. I think not even short of unexpected strange act either. Exactly do you mean? Is this? Kato is. Will begin to consider what kind of evil straw. It does not somehow terribly disturbing. That aside, talk to return on the basis of, in the Koizumi house. That what it was happened at night. You must first written it. Mr. Koizumi is make a phone call to Akechi Detective. If you as much as 20 minutes. The sound of the temple stops the car. Detective of black business suit wearing good cuckoo as always. Has visited Koizumi house. Mr. Waiting and had Koizumi greeted out himself to guide the Akechi in the back parlor. Keep away the angels calling. It was to tell in detail the private university of thing. Detective Akechi was finished listening completely, which was crowded thinking with his arms folded remained silent for a while, and will eventually raise the face. Seems he got something bright idea. She replied in a Tanamoshi-up tone. Koizumi-san, we have received your argument. Now what you put on your eyes witness a guy's nose. Of course Nobuo returned Takun is not past even hanging scroll of Seshu. Besides you put to see captures hit the guy. To tell the truth, I was waiting to happen with these things. 20 countenances. Because there are overlaps grudge. This time of the incident. Is the hope not the opportunity for me? And Nobuo because you had joined the boy detective team. Because I was in such order. To me is why there is enough responsibility. You put your eyes back to take in the always successful. Quote, we then I worry buying it thank you. However, I earth back why I take Nobuo. You have a layer 20 countenances and you can see how. No, it does not understand at all to me. So, why? I do not attach also your thoughts refreshing idea. He is in exchange for a hanging scroll of Seshu. Will it return Nobuo you? It's right, because it is. As long as you do not pass that picture is. But it seems like there is no means to return to take the Nobuo. So, Ami the hanging scroll. Edge, you water? Well then heirloom to give up whether you say you. No, do not pass a hanging scroll of Seshu. At the same I hope in a hanging scroll of distinction similar. Even doing in your home to bandits. Well their hanging scroll are like not much regrettable. From among them of Seshu hanging scroll similar guide the elect. I used to substitute. Quote, I see. But it is a good idea. I wonder if you'll come right in such a hand. We'll do a goof. Such as receive not changed its contents. Ha ha ha. Just then was me for granted. I will bail course. I kinda use magic tricks. 20 countenances also is quite a magic sukai. I also am going to him to sink the unexpected taken. Well, please leave it to me. However, to say that the use of magic, but the hanging scroll is the we must have in myself. I wonder if you can use such magic to me. Ha ha ha. No, you, the impoliteness useless. The trick is you cannot not be me. But, you lie unexpected afford to give me a proxy. If Naika have in my own, I that never not return a Nobuo. There is also devised in it, I whether it will be this kind of thing, has been prepared properly. I have entered as the tool here. Akechi is, taking in hand there was a small bag in his Zenosuba. Mai's hit. You say that the strange and not negay little borrowed the lavatory of his wife or Edge, the powder room, is exactly what wilt thou? No, I will know now. Then because you may want to ask your wife, or please do not introduce one. Mr. Koizumi is, what it did not know is somehow not, in that there is a Sadameshi priest to this. Remains to be said, calling his wife, was ordered to suit pulled in Akechi. To guide to the restroom it was then 15, or it would only be 6 minutes. Mr. Koizumi is still sitting on the basis of the parlor, but had received weight to smoke. Then, suddenly Shoji I have Edge's smooth stop in the opponent, but be as someone come into Koizumi Mr. Noises, was turned around the highway and it's better. Then, when you glance at the person coming in know the Edge, make up a strange cry. I have involuntarily stood up. It is also not unreasonable. From Koizumi and his face in there until the back cuckoo. I Tagawa unexpected person an inch. I had been standing around laughing smile, as if I were also seen in the large mirror. I own figure appeared right in front of Mr. Koizumi was doubt that it would be his eyes were somehow. I tried cradling that it would be looking it in a dream. However, it is not a dream. That of the other alone yourself. And I think came into the determinedly in the parlor, on top of the cushion that had been sitting with Akechi to the best. Not the sitting perfect. Ha ha ha. Koizumi-san. I will irashai with a strange face. Enough not you also be divided see. Hey did you so well disguise, me, Akechi. That person. Or else it was the seed testimony while laughing amused look on her. Oh, how I did so. This is surprised. I am in what has become strange as my head. I as about was surprised. Are you quite well? I feel like if I were looking in the mirror. Quote, ha ha ha, in between listening to the best story. The features of your face. We had been well engraved in my heart. And prepared a false mustache has been bluff. I successfully shaggy head you put in. Or the cotton fakumi. Or a cosmetic for disguise in the face. The other was doing a variety of arcane. This kimono and undershirt is to ask your wife. I was just out yours. How about, will be fit for is this if the substitute. Quote, I was imitated to parent. Voice. indeed was surprised. Is with you, it would be so much disguise. Udima example of, I think did not even more. It is okay. Well, dad any opponent, seen tearing at my, you cannot, quote, ha ha ha, purchase decisions and you are assured, is not for sure about this. Well then, in this food I become your substitute. I'll do to surprise the guy 20 countenance kana. Now turn of the hanging scroll law is the substitute. But it is what you want to look for one because the Seshu paintings. Sanaweed. Let's choose a substitute, such as not being as much as possible noticed to the other party. Quote, alright, so, please put into the storehouse with me. Mr. Koizumi impressed completely in brilliant disguise the first time of Akechi, and this Choshi if everything must go well. But the other Hokuhoku, himself with a flashlight, I did stand before, only national treasure that are housed in truly. Lock the door of the storehouse is what indeed Genju. First, remove the front lock. It opens a large door of iron, of which open the wooden doors of heavy wire mesh beams of the ring. Entered the back of the storehouse. There to steal, such as the safe that is installation and beefier the box. According to the encryption character, it does not have to be opened. From the top of Mr. Koizumi's shelf in the steel box, and taken out of the elongated kiri box, carefully opens it, and spread the hanging scroll of Seshu of treasure. It did show in Akechi. It is big deal. Although I is exactly the amateur is more of the picture, and this will be more of the masterpiece. I will still hit the heart. This is a impressive thing. What about? Indeed, the two if this 10 countenances I do not have a coveted even the impossible. Heat since going black is over the art I have a watch I have soup. Akechi is on top of the hanging scroll, which spread of Mr. Koizumi. A flashlight held up while it are seen as stand sensitive. Because it is after all, are transmitted from 7 generations before the ancestors. Venerable goods. I also, if able to live without past this heirloom. I do not like this thankfully. If successfully go this clause is going to thank you enough we out. Quote, no, such a thing as you please not do so worry. This time incident, rather than for you, for my own revenge. If not be the Gaivan Zegahi, I cannot stand in of the same dimensions as the axis. Do you want me as much as possible looking for a substitute with similar appearance? Quote, when Akechi will leave the front of the picture, Mr. Koizumi while housed wound carefully the hanging scroll. No, if it, yes with the other perfectly eyes mother and child. Please wait. Well, this is a fine only is mounting. The name is the work of neither painter. Be taken to him. Iko regrettable not is the thing. Said, from the top of the shelf, which was attached to the wall of the storehouse. Take a box of mortar black dirty kiri. It passed hand to Akechi. Akechi is. It slightly open spread the hanging scroll in. The left saw a little in front of the flashlight. Wrapped like the original. I've side by side near the axis of Seshu. Its ivory of down. Axis also a similar hue. Are also very similar old way of mounting. There is no perfect if this. Let's decide to this. Oh, both I is written it is motive on top of the box. When this well then box just do not use the real thing. It would immediately look broken. So is not mistaken. This fake to a real box. Let's replace the better of Seshu into the box of fake. Come on. This is settled for a. Here is a Seshu genuine. Since the box is changed. It is somewhat strange. There is no doubt. Please house this to the original location. Quote, Mr. Koizumi is received as it is a box of kiri hold out of Akechi. Housed on the shelves of the steel box. Close the door. Turn the dial codes. The two of out of the storehouse. And then the interference. Return to the parlor of Matamoto. Akechi the crepe wrapping cloth that Booth Sukai was brought. Was wrap a box of kiri of fake cherish likely. Then is completely the ready. It was already 10 o'clock. Then pulled out the old wine of the pride and joy of his master. being carried things knob of simple Western foo, while the glass in hand, while you are something story, came as soon appointed time of departure. Oh, is another 11:30. You must go out. Grainy vocoder. I because it is very is late for the appointed time. It's I'm going. Because you return to take as always Nobuo-kun. If please do not worry. Akechi was pretending to be Mr. Koizumi. Was rising in the greeting. Mr. Koizumi, and earnestly so as not to mistake. While press the just in case. It did forego the bother beginnings of detective to the outside of the gate. 20 countenance magic. Koizumi, who returned to the parlor, put off the Akechi is not a care anymore cares. I wonder me back take a well Nobuo. By chance hanging scroll is found to be fake. And the wonder is not things like meat in order that a child is terrible. Or sitting or standing. It was to live look just hands of a clock. Nobuo is the same thing in Koizumi wife of Mr. of the mother. Sitting beside Mr. Koizumi. Blue face of each other. While fending off seeing the frightened eyes. There is no spirit to say things. Just wait for the standing of the time. Enough. 20 minutes. 30 minutes. Oh, what that wait etc. Oshi. Would have been a long time. Is such as mother. Because the thing that pounding so much chest. Hanging on as it is seriously ill. But as has become I think you that it would be dying. However, the more I think that it would be have stopped. Curse watch also. Imperceptibly advanced needle did when it eventually midnight temporary Majikaku. Long awaited. And the entrance of Confucius doorbell sound. And I think it has stood uproar sign of the maid. I heard the sound of someone comes running and noisily down the corridor. Well, I'm is not doer. Nobuo, mother. Open this suddenly Shoji I have the edge. It was more run to fall as the better. Mom. A wazoo boy with a cry of, while so entangled with the mother, had jumped into the parlor. Was still Nobuo you. Oh, Nobuo either. Also with rising involuntarily Mr. Koizumi. Hey I came back well. I do not palm mayor no matter how worried. Int Mr. Akechi is. Edge, it is Akechi-san. Nobuo-kun was reflective listening in a dubious face. Oh, it it. Paddle of you did not meet the Mr. Akechi. Akechi's guess. In disguise to the look-alike appearance and dad. To place 20 countenance. He was no need to backtake you. Paddle did not notice it. Quote. To be continued. Thank you for your viewing. If you like please subscribe to the channel. I am very encouraged.